TCT presents Public Report, a look at the issues and events of importance to our viewing area. Now, here is your host.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today and watching TCT Television Public Reports. I'm Joy Gaddis, your host, and I am looking forward to today's show because we have a wonderful guest, two guests with us that has some wonderful information for you. We want to keep our listening audience informed as to what's going on in the various communities and give you ideas as to how to get involved. Our first guest is Kevin Duff. He is the owner of Acts of Faith newspaper. So welcome.
Thank you.
And we also have with us Stephanie Butler, who's the president of the COGL network, and she's an apostle. This woman, she just does everything. And so I'm so glad that she's visiting with us today. So let's just engage and talk about what is going on with this magazine. Okay. I was just sitting here flipping through it and I just love it. So tell us a little bit about the magazine and how it got birthed.
The magazine, or the newspaper that we put together, was put together about 4 months ago. It's been in the talking stages a little longer than that. When I got married, my talents have been in the newspaper industry for over 35 years, and I got a few years with also the television version of things. And I've worked in the secular world for a long time. And then there was a lot of changes that took place in my life. I got married, and my wife said to me, I started working with the school system, and my wife said, why are you wasting your talents on that? And she said that you should put all your talents towards building the kingdom. So we designed a newspaper that was called Acts of Faith. Everything that we've done has been in prayer. My wife actually puts all the news articles, everything together inside of it. And then I go out and sell and network and do all of the other. We both, she holds a normal job during the day, and then she does this at night, helping me get it off the ground.
Wow. Well, I was just flipping through the magazine, and you do exactly that, promote the kingdom of God. Yep. And I love it because it's so practical. It has the morning moments with God. And, you know, we're all looking for a devotional, especially we all live fast-paced. And what can I read real quick to get my mind or keep my mind on God? Right. And maybe I've just experienced something and I need to get my attitude back, ready. I need a great devotional that can quickly help me to make that adjustment. And that's what this magazine does. For instance, Matters of the Heart, where it talks about beliefs, fatherhood, being satisfied, what you can do to be satisfied. Then I love the Bible emergency numbers. Yep. So for whatever crisis you're having, there is a scriptural promise for that crisis. And then it has a lot of practical things like 5 tips to beating the summer heat. It has puzzles for kids and a lot of health information. I'm really into health and nutrition. Right. And so I love that it has a lot of health information on here. So let's talk about that and how it got birthed. Was it a passion in your heart to have something for Christians? Because you came out the secular world. Right.
There was a lot that was going on for both me and Tammy throughout our lives. And when we realized at a certain point that there's a lot of people out there going through these trials but don't have God involved in their lives. This is an opportunity, so like if you wrote a story and how you went through it with God, there may be an individual out there that sees and reads that story and understands whether they've had cancer or lost somebody or it doesn't matter, as far as how it works, but it's a matter how you walk through it. And this newspaper hopefully will give them the opportunity to be able to connect with a local church or connect with somebody that can help them out, whether it's suicide or trafficking, whatever. These stories hopefully will hit home with them and be able to go after.
Well, how can they get a copy of this? I want to subscribe. I love what I'm seeing in here. How can the listening audience get a copy of this magazine?
We're on Facebook, so that they can go on Facebook and they can also see a copy of the magazine on Facebook. Okay. Locally, they can be picked up within the areas of our distribution right now. can be picked up at the stores, whether it's some salons, electrician shops, doctors, dentist's office, ice cream parlors, that kind of.
Okay. So how are you supported? Through the ads that are placed in the magazine?
The advertising is through the magazine. All the content were stories that come in from individuals like yourself or Stephanie would put these stories together, send them in to us, and faith-based, we publish them.
Oh, great.
So, and we don't charge for any of that. The paper is solely supported by advertising.
So if someone has an event, they can contact you, send you the information, and you will put the event in the magazine?
Yep, if it's a story that leads to those, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Now, Stephanie, how did you get involved with Kevin?
That is a great question. You know me, right? So I'm always talking to people, always meeting new people, and I think it was Kel Scott,
Yep.
wasn't it?
Yep.
And what's the name of his organization? The evangelism organization. I know he does apologetic Inglings. Basically, he's an evangelist in Lansing, Michigan. He's a lawyer. He loves God. He's got this beautiful testimony. So he calls me up one day, Steph, I got to introduce you to this guy. And we had this dream to kind of, when you go into the stores in our particular city, you see lots of political newspapers, small ones like this. They're just full of perspectives that really don't align with hope, they don't align with truth, and they're not real solution-oriented. So when Kel introduced me to Kevin and he said he wanted to do this, I was like, yes, Coggle is in, right? Mm-hmm. That is what we're about. We are about uniting to transform cities with Christ, and one of the ways that we do that is by changing the narrative, creating opportunities for people to have hope. And I love, did you get a chance to look at the visuals? So it's high quality, it's beautiful, it's inspiring, and what I love about it too is it's uniting people. So for example, Joy, if you had an article you wanted to send in, you could send it in, right? So they're not saying, yeah, no, this is only one denomination or it's only one type of church or whatnot. They're saying, send us your information. If it's relevant for the theme that we have that month, we want to get the word out and we want to encourage people. So when, how can you say no to that, right?
Yep.
So we heard what he was doing. We said, yes, that makes sense. One of our goals is that sphere of media, right? Impacting culture through media. So this totally aligned with who we're called to be.
Wow. And you have so much experience in the secular world with media and television. Do you teach classes to younger ones that's coming up that want to do the same thing, perhaps?
Well, one of the things that we have with the newspaper is we're looking for sales crew. And the people that are involved in the sales crew, as they move up in or involved into the company and can move, my goal is to be able to set them up with another paper, the same paper but in another area that they can take over and run themselves eventually. So it's kind of a proven fact as they grow up. It is an expensive venture to start one of these up, and I've had a lot of friends. When we started this newspaper, we started with no money, and I had a lot of friends that were involved with me that actually helped me get this whole thing developed. So the expense behind it for me was nowhere near what it would have been as normal. So I want to try to help somebody else out in that same area and being able to grow and promote the newspaper.
Can pastors come to your company and just pick up bundles to take to their churches?
Yes, or we'll deliver it to them.
And you will deliver it? That's great. That's one way to get the word out, because
Yeah.
it's wonderful just flipping through it, the various topics. So how passionate are you about the word and the kingdom of God getting out?
Very passionate. This, like I said, the paper was designed for that and to make sure that we could connect with the public in the vision. Everything that I do, and Stephanie will testify, and any business owner that I've walked into, I tell them we are planting seeds and to build the kingdom. The advertising, if somebody comes to you, it's because of that. It's not because of the newspaper. It's because they see something in the value in the newspaper, and the businesses that we get involved are trustworthy to be able to move forward, and they can actually get a good business to do things for them.
Do you have any events coming up? What type of events do you have during the year?
Right now, because we're a brand new paper and just starting, we partnered with Kogel and we run along with the events that Stephanie has. And we're also going to be on her web. So we will be connected with 220 churches?
210.
210 churches.
210 churches, wow. That's pretty effective for you, have only been doing this for a short amount of time.
It's not me, it's God.
Yeah, well, we know it is. It's truly the Lord, but he's working through you
Right.
to get the word out. So, Stephanie, what is your part in this?
Primarily, we're just looking for organizations or business owners that are really kingdom-minded, like Kevin, and saying, how can we help you accomplish what it is God's calling you to do? How can we platform you? How can we get you connected to the Christians, to the churches that you are looking to reach? Like, for example, if you're out there in your church and you're interested in having this paper in your particular facility, you know, contact Kevin via the information that's coming up on the screen over the course of the show here, because we need venues. The more venues we have, the more papers we can sell, right? Have your individuals that you know have a fantastic testimony, send in stories to Tammy. That information's at the bottom of the screen. Those are kind of what we do. We get people connected. We remind them why it's important, right? We encourage them to work together and that it's worth it. That's really our role. And then just telling a story.
Yes, and we have a lot of people in our listening audience who feel that you're called to write a book. This is one way to get started, telling your story within the magazine. A lot of people have gotten healed.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful story and testimony that would encourage somebody else. So how would they submit it to you?
By sending their information via email or to the address on the screen, or they can call us.
Okay, and what is your telephone number?
517-599-8795. And my wife is the one that actually does the stories. And I should know her phone number, but I don't. Her name is Tammy Duff. 517-927-0750.
And nobody memorizes phone numbers anymore. We're in
I
that
know.
technological era where you just choose the picture, right?
And this magazine, like I said, it's for everybody. Even for kids, there are puzzles in here. So for every age group, you would love this magazine, Act of Faith.
And it's all biblical puzzles. When you sit back and you look at the stories, there's fill-ins for the Bible. There's also the crosswords are biblical driven. Everything within the paper is biblical driven. And we have, Stephanie's one of them that kind of goes over the content to make sure, that helps me to make sure that everything in there is biblical driven and not taken off to the side.
Great. Well, he's given us quite a bit of information concerning the Act of Faith magazine, and we have much more to talk about, and so we will be right back. Stay tuned.
Hello. I come here every morning. I have my morning routine. I get up, eat breakfast, and come here every morning for a cup of coffee. Because I have to get up so early in the morning, I crave my morning cup of coffee, and I couldn't imagine going a day without it. You know, another thing I can't imagine going without is Christian television. It gives me the boost I need spiritually to help me get through my day and encourages me to stay close to Christ. So I support them. I give them $1 a day, which is only about a quarter of the cost of this cup of coffee. So I know when I or someone else may need an encouraging word, they'll still be there.
$1 a day. TCT going strong. Please send your support to P.O. Box 1010, Marion, Illinois 62959, or in Canada, P.O. Box 20, Fort Erie, Ontario L2AFY2.
Have you ever wanted to learn how to run a camera, audio board, or any other behind-the-scene video work? Well, you have that opportunity, free, at your local TCT station. We will train you. All you have to do is make yourself available. Call your local TCT station to find out more.
Welcome back. I am here with Priscilla Bodea, and she is one of the board members of the House of Promise, and she's involved with a ministry that's something that's affecting our nation, and that's human trafficking. And so we want to talk to you a little bit about that, your organization and how you help girls and how you provide for them the necessary things that you need to help and assist with the organization that you have. So let's talk a little bit about that. How did this organization begin?
This began with our founder, Sherry Montgomery. She left her business of 30 years, and God had put in her heart that she needed to open a home for girls that had been rescued from sex trafficking. And so that is her goal, it's her vision, is to have a safe house to place these girls once they've been rescued from sex trafficking. And then this house will be a safe place for these girls to get education, counseling, the medical needs that they'll need from recovering from such a tragic experience. These girls have been sold into this sex slavery over 100 times, and so we want to be able to provide everything we possibly can, from their spiritual being, for their physical needs, and for their mental stability. Our goal is to get each girl back on their feet and adapt to life as normal as possible.
And how are these girls brought to your organization?
These girls can be brought from all different avenues. We currently have been contacted by the FBI, Homeland Security, our local hospitals, counseling centers. And so, you know, the need is so high right now to gather the funds in order to purchase the home, in order to place these girls so we can start their healing.
And how many girls will you be able to accommodate in this home?
Our goal is to start with 10 girls and then eventually lead up to 100. And it may sound low when you say 10 girls, just 10, but when you think about the tragic experience that they've endured, you know, one girl at a time, you know, it's just our goal is to bring hope and rehabilitation and renewing to each person. So 10 is to start with, but we want to lead to 100.
Excellent. What is the minimum and maximum time that these girls are allowed to stay in the home?
Well, our home will allow them to be there for a 2-year program, which is what kind of separates us and makes a difference between what our program would offer versus other nonprofits. Most of those nonprofits offer help for about 6 months, and then they're on their own and they're kind of left to figure life out from that point. And so what's difficult with that, and why we don't hear as many success stories, is because it takes at least 6 months to earn the trust back for these girls. And so we need, and have found that we need a longer season with these girls to be able to provide everything that they will need to be able to live life on their own.
Where are some of the places where girls are highly trafficked?
Sadly, just in our own community, I mean, we rank number 2 in the nation for the state of Michigan. And this is also caused by family members, people that they trust, people that they look up to. It could be businessmen, educators, you know, lawyers, all kinds of different professions. It's not biased to a profession or to a culture.
Okay. Priscilla, can you give us some of the statistics of the girls that are trafficked today?
Yeah, the age range is from, right now that we're seeing, is about 12 years old to 18 years old.
I see. And you brought a video with you today.
Yes.
To give us a little bit more information about the House of Promise. And so
Yes.
let's take a look at that video.
I was a little girl. I was constantly told that I wasn't good enough, and I was made to feel this. That's not an easy thing to overcome, and I certainly couldn't have become who I am today. Was the only voice I heard. The real tragedy is I'm not a unique case. Most girls that aren't shown end up in the wrong places, but I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm Sherry Montgomery, and I've been rescued. Today, I own a successful and I have a family, but there's something amazing about the way God uses our past and our brokenness to cultivate a grace. I believe God planted a seed of what's meant for more than just my story. When I hear that 1 out of 3 in the U.S. sexually in their lifetime, and the average of a trafficked girl is 12-year-old, how can I remain silent? How can I enjoy my gift of freedom without sharing? You see, I've been given a purpose in a big home where young women can reach and be loved again. Haven for from 12 to 2 years old who have been of trafficking or sexual abuse. There are hundreds of exploited girls in your hometown that sound just like I did, convinced, worthless, and forgotten. Who will loose the chains of injustice? Who will trust? We need strong men with one voice. Not my city, I want. We can't change their past, can impact their future. It begins with a promise. You are loved. Let's change the voice of our generation.
That was a wonderful video, very informative. I just am so grateful to Sherry for founding this organization. How did you personally get involved with this company?
Yeah, I personally got involved because I met Sherry Montgomery at our church. We attended the same church, and she shared her vision and her heart about rescuing girls who had been sexually abused. And I didn't know too much about the sex trafficking part, and so we had coffee and we met because I too had been sexually abused. I was raped by my father, and so I felt like this would be a great way to give back and just to see, you know, how God kind of works when He turns things full circle. And the Beauty for Ashes theme just kind of resonated in my heart, and so I decided that I would join her board and serve her in every way that I possibly could. And so she gave me the opportunity to join her, and so between serving her through the nonprofit, but also through the organizations that come along with that. You know, we have a few different events that go on as far as the Beauty for Ashes event, which brings awareness to sex trafficking, but it also brings in the funds that we'll need to continually keep the home. We also have the Green Light Project, and currently we have the Together We Can campaign. And so me personally, though, I'm in the process of writing a book called The Secret Life, and so I know what, you know, it's like to be trapped and enslaved from someone that you really trust. And so because I share the same vision, I want to donate 50% of my book to the House of Promise.
Wonderful. Tell us a little bit of what's in the book.
Yeah, what's in the book, it's called The Secret Life because I wasn't, you know, your ideal case. A lot of the times you hear kids that have been sexually abused, you hear that they end up in gangs or they have low education, and that wasn't really my case. You know, I was an honor roll student. I was vice president of my school. I played 3 sports all year round. I was homecoming queen. So in everyone's eye, they thought I had like this great, perfect life, but behind closed doors, I lived a completely different life, and that's why it's called The Secret Life. And so you'll get to hear my personal story of overcoming incest, but also the power of forgiveness and redemption, because I also took a journey that I never thought that I would have taken, but the Lord completely my life upside down, and He's a constant pursuer, and so the Holy Spirit never left me, and just the constant hope of the people that God put in my life throughout that entire process of healing. So I want to be able to offer that to other girls as well, and so therefore I want to serve through the House of Promise, helping one girl at a time recover and get restored through faith and through support mentally and emotionally.
Yes, and that's so important. And we really want the girls to know, because there are so many watching this program, and we want you to know there is help. And maybe you don't know what to do or know where to go. So how will they be able to contact you or find your organization to get the help they need? Yeah, there definitely is hope, and we don't want anyone to feel like they can't access us. You know, if you're in the ages between 12 and 22 and are in need of help, you can go to thehouseofpromise.com, and we are also on every social media avenue, and they can contact us through there. Do you have any upcoming events, fundraisers that are coming up that the audience can know about and maybe come to support you? Yeah, we do have the Beauty for Ashes that's held in June. We also have currently the Together We Can campaign, and that is, our goal is to get 300 people to be a captain and to donate $100, and each captain is responsible for finding 9 other people to donate $100. This will bring in the $300,000 that is still needed to purchase the home. Yes, everyone has to be involved. Yes. This is not just something for the House of Promise. Everyone needs to be involved. There's so many